Hey everyone, this is Lisa from Life in Layouts, and today I pulled out this page map sketch from September of 2022, as well as the Enchanted Princess Bundle from Kellybell Designs. You'll notice that I have very little elements here because I'm really focusing on the page starters and the titlelet embellishments. Now, if you're anything like me, you have a ton of Disney photos. I've been a pass holder for 7 years, and I have so many stories to tell. I first started out with using a pocket page style, and I have a playlist for that. I'll link it below for you guys. But going into that, I quickly realized that I did not like that style. While yes, I was able to get a ton of photos on each one of my spreads, it wasn't like they were really personalized. But then when I started to do my double page layouts and even my single page layouts, it became a little overwhelming with planning out all of these different layouts. And when I started working with Kellybell Designs, the page starters were something that I instantly fell in love with. These things are pre-made for you. You don't have to start with a blank page. Half the design work is already done for you. You can absolutely add to your page starters, which I love to do by building them up like you see here. I'm taking pieces from the page starter and I printed them out separately and then adding some foam adhesive behind it, making them pop. But you could absolutely print them out and add them to your layout without doing anything else to them. Trips to Disney usually come with hundreds of photos. Sometimes you want to scrapbook all of them. The page starters will help you keep up with all of those photos without losing the magic of storytelling. So whether you're wanting to scrapbook a ton of photos and you want to get all of them done, or you're looking for more flat layouts so that you can get a ton of layouts in your albums, page starters and titleets are the way to go. I do have a tutorial on how to piece together these page starters using the silhouette, being able to size down your embellishments so that they work perfectly on your page starters, as well as how to size your page starters for your layouts. I have a playlist with a ton of tutorials about hybrid scrapbooking, and I highly recommend that you guys check it out if you're wanting to get all of those Disney layouts created. The fun thing about these page starters as well is you can customize them. The element here had the Be Our Guest in the center, but I thought that it didn't work well for my layout. So I went ahead and printed out the fairy tale encounter and added that right on top. I even left a brown border around the edge of it, so it even gives it more dimension than it had before. These designs look like you've spent hours on them. And for me, the photos are always going to be the star of the show. But I do want pretty embellishments on my layouts. I really feel like the page starters balances that fun aspect of showcasing my photos, but also making my layouts look really gorgeous. This layout came together super quickly, and if you're wanting to knock out a ton of layouts, page starters are the way to go. Now, I know I've spent a little bit of time walking through that, but I wanted to make sure that you guys could see how easily these page starters are to customize. With adding just a little bit of foam adhesive behind them, you get so much detail. I also pulled out the glossy accent from Ranger and added some of it around the page starters as well, to the centers of the flowers, to the little piece on the heart, as well as the glass that is covering the rose. Of course, you do have to let that dry, but once it does, it just gives so much dimension to this layout. And I didn't add anything at all to my titlelet piece because I felt like that one was just beautiful the way it was. And you can see that even without adding anything else, it adds so much to the layout. For this particular layout, I'm only going to be using 3 pieces of paper and the 2 page starters as well as the 1 titlelet. For the photos that are going to be on the right hand side, they are full 4x6 photos. I do trim them down just a little bit so that I can mount them on the white cardstock. This isn't even necessary. If you want to mount them fully on the 4x6, you can. I just like to have a 4x6 even after my mat is done. Of course, I'm going to be using my layering guides to mat my photos using the background white cardstock paper. Once I get the photos matted, then I'm going to add some adhesive to this yellow paper. At first, I thought about adding the yellow paper completely on the right-hand side of the layout, but then once I went to lay it down, I thought it would look nice to add just a little bit over on the left. So I left an inch to hang off the left-hand side of the layout so that I can add it to the left-hand side. Of course, adding some washi tape to the back to secure those holes, and then I did trim down this blue paper. I did not think this through very well. I probably should have put the blue paper down before the yellow paper, but I do make it work. I also had a little bit of a hard time trying to figure out which way was top on this blue paper. It has a tone-on-tone subtle print, and I ultimately went with this way because there is one little piece that looks like a peacock feather kind of, and I felt like that should go up as opposed to down. Whether I'm right or wrong, I have no idea, but that's what looks good to me. I did have to trim it down just a little bit so that I could get it tucked behind the yellow paper, and then of course adding that washi tape to the back again. I trimmed off the little bit of overhang so that I could add it to the left-hand side of the layout. This time I was much smarter by putting the blue paper down first. I do line up both of my layouts and pull out the T-square ruler so I can make sure that the blue paper is even on both sides. I went ahead and used the full sheet on the left-hand side, and this is going to be the base of my layout. Now the sketch does call for another piece behind the blue, but I just went ahead and omitted that. I felt like the white really made the blue and the yellow pop, and I didn't need another pattern paper. I have 3 photos on the left-hand side. Well, technically 5, because what I decided to do was I have a full photo of Belle, and then for my other 2 3x4 photos, I used the Project Life app to put 2 photos on one, so those photos are 2x3. I also pulled in one of the cards from the collection and added that to the photo because I didn't have a lot of photos for this layout. But I love the extra texture that that card adds to this layout. So as I'm getting those photos down, let me just tell you a little bit about this layout. Back in 2018, I went to Enchanted Tales with Belle, and if you've never went to this experience, they choose people from the audience, mostly children, to play roles in the show itself. There actually wasn't a lot of kids in this one, and so when they were looking for volunteers, I quickly raised my hand and I was selected as the wardrobe, which was so much fun. So I was able to be a part of the show, and at the very end, I was able to get a picture with Belle. I also received a bookmark that I have put in my album between these 2 layouts. My friend was there and she videoed the whole experience, and so I will be adding a QR code, and that video is linked at the end of this video if you would like to check out my debut at Disney as Belle's wardrobe. So over on the right-hand side, I added the 1-page starter, and then underneath the photos on the left, I added the 2nd-page starter. And then at the top, I'm going to add the title. And you can see how quickly this layout comes together. You know that I really enjoy stitching on my layout, so I felt like adding the stitching around the yellow border would just give it a little extra touch. So I pulled out this ruler from Tim Holtz and added my stitching holes. I went on both the left and right hand side of the layout, and then I pulled out some yellow thread. I really like the tone-on-tone look of the yellow thread next to that yellow paper. I feel like it just adds just a little bit of detail, but so much texture to the layout. Of course, I did do my stitching off camera, and then I come back to adding my journaling. You can see here that I'm using the template that Nicole created, and then at the very bottom, I did print out my QR code as well. I do have a video on how to add QR codes to your layouts. It includes uploading your videos to YouTube. You can make them unlisted, so it will not be public. It's only available to the people that you share it with, so it would be the people who have the QR code, or if you send them the link directly. I'm stacking my journaling strips so that they have a little bit of dimension, and then I'm going to trim them down. My journaling says, "Who knew my big Disney debut would be as a wardrobe? When they picked me to play Belle's wardrobe, I was so excited. Getting to be a part of the story instead of just watching it was such a fun surprise, and it made the whole experience even more magical. It's a memory with Belle I'll never forget. I think things like this really do make the magic of Disney. Just being able to be a part of the show itself, and all it was me holding a cardboard sign and walking around during the story. But it was so much fun. I added my QR code over on the left-hand side. I also printed out my date and I added that to one of the page starters. I felt like I needed something else, so I did pull out my color boxes in blue, yellow, and pink, and I found hearts that matched the color of the paper as well as the page starters, and I added each one of them to the 3 clusters around the layout. So make sure you go check out Kellybell Designs for all of their page starters. They have so many ways that you can get started with your Disney layouts. All right, that is it for this video. Here is my final layout as well as some close-ups. I hope this gave you a good look at how easy it is to pull together digital layouts using page starters. And it makes it so much quicker to get those Disney memories scrapped. If you've been nervous about trying digital scrapbooking, give it a shot. Check out my tutorials below and let me know if you have any questions. If you enjoyed this video, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already and you want to see more double page layout inspiration, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope that you have a scrappy day.